South African time. We're crossing over. I think it is to Ethiopia. I stand corrected with my guest. And that, of course, is you, Alimamy Bakarr Sankoh. And you are the International Executive Director and President of the Governing Council of the HCIF PFS. You're going to tell us exactly what those abbreviations stand for. And just correct me, are you in Ethiopia? Assalamu alaikum, welcome.
Wa alaikum salam. Assalamu alaikum. I'm not in Ethiopia currently. I'm currently on tour of the African continent, mobilizing support, solidarity support for our friends and allies. And of course, the ACIFPFS stands for the Hugo Chavez International Foundation for Peace, Friendship and Solidarity, a very peaceful and development-oriented international NGO that is founded by Africans, and administered by Africans across the continent.
Okay, so then my next question would be, what's the link, obviously, to the AU? We've just come out of an African Union summit, but I understand it started on a note of discontent amongst young people. We do know the AU is Africa's top regional body. It opened the annual summit on Saturday. It ran through yesterday as well. This happened in Ethiopia, of course. And this was to discuss the future of the continent of some of 1.4 billion people. However, the youth are very, very discontented. Talk to us about how that issue was addressed. Was that the main body of the addresses during this summit?
Thank you, Madam. I'm speaking to you as the founder and president of the New African Charter International, an African-based advocacy group for peace, stability, and development in Africa. You know, the 39th session of the Assembly of Heads of State and Government started on Saturday, 14 February 2022. For the mass of the African people, I want to say, this session will end, and of course, it has not proven to be some of a different, like any other gathering in previous years. It's all a talk shop. That's what I want to say, because it never addresses the issues affecting the youth of Africa, nor addressing the problems affecting the political situation in Africa. The African Union cannot and has failed even to defend the African continent. It has become a yes-man institution, taking orders from the oppressor masters overseas. So the AU has lost its relevance and has lived its own relevance as well, and no longer reliable when it comes to peace, security, stability, development, and prosperity in Africa. So the youth are getting frustrated every day, every passing day. Our youth are getting frustrated across the continent. Unemployment is massive, poverty is on the increase, and want is also the problem affecting the youth. So every youth now is fighting to go outside for greener pastures. That's why they took this road through the Mediterranean. And let me be honest to you, it's a shameful thing to see our youth dying trying to cross to Europe through the Mediterranean Sea. They have been killed, and some of them have been arrested and currently being held against their wish. So we are expecting the African Union to be acting in the interest of the continent, but we are not seeing that. We are only seeing the opposite. And
okay, Alimamy, Can I ask you this? I want to make one or two comments and then you can respond to it. We do know that Africa has the youngest population in the world, with more than 400 million people aged between 15 and 35 years old. But it's also the home to several of the oldest and longest serving leaders. This is a paradox, is it not? That's contributed to an upsurge in coups and the discontentment of our youth. Um, Also, that our youth population is set to double by the year 2050. And it is the only rapidly growing region where its people are getting poorer. And this is due to a whole host of issues, corruption being number one, sellout to Western governments is another issue. But I'll hand over you to respond to these two very, very serious matters as far as Africa is concerned, and hoping that people like yourself will start addressing these critical issues in the AU, else the AU needs to disband.
Yeah, that is correct. But in my own opinion, Africa is going through struggles. First, it was a struggle against slavery. Second, the struggle against colonialism. Third was the struggle against the apartheid system in Southern Africa. Now we are struggling against new colonial oppression. So we as youth, we are not so happy with the system or what is happening today going on in Africa. Africa is being considered to be a dumping ground or the wretched of the heart. So we want our leaders to take note of what is happening on the continent with a view to address them objectively. Because without a political will, Africa will remain the same. And we cannot continue to be like that. We need to move forward. Africa needs to take its place in the international scene. We need to participate in everything in terms of development and environmental justice in the world. But where is Africa today? Africa has been dumped in the corner. We've been left in the corner. We've been abandoned, isolated, and discriminated. So we want our
And of
leaders
course,
to go back to the
and and of course, Western powers still use the divide and rule principle throughout Africa, so that they can, they can get a foothold to Africa's rich mineral resources. We're going to have to wrap up, but let me ask you then, when these issues were raised at the AU, are you happy with the responses from the members of the AU, or do you think there still has to be a lot of work put in regarding these issues? And are you also in agreement that we need to see younger voices, younger minds, more young people entering the AU and in political circles, so that we can get rid of all the dinosaurs that are ruling certain countries in Africa?
Yeah, we need included in the affairs of governance in different countries of Africa. In all
I
member states.
realize there's a delay.
Yeah, there's a delay also. My network is
Not
very
that
bad.
great.
Underground is being encouraged or tailored by the enemies of the continent and imposed leaders on Africa. So Africa has been a slave under new colonialism today. And we are saying is that without the African youth participating in the affairs of the continent, there is no way Africa could take its own part or could participate in reshaping international and global world. So we need African youth to be considered. They are the future of development or prosperity of the continent. And as rightly said, Africa is
Um,
owing to the largest youth population in the world. And we are today also, we are the most uneducated, unemployed, and impoverished youth in the world as well. And
Are
no
you
one is really
confident,
supposed.
Alimamy, my final question to you, are you confident that the AU can move forward? Are you confident that this could be a new rising for Africa as a whole? Are you confident that those very old leaders that have been hanging on to power will let go and let younger minds, young ideas, refresh, fresh ideas, fresh politics take hold in Africa and turn the tide so that we as Africans are not reliant on the Western world, so that we can become truly independent as Africans?
Well, you really touched the issue of independence. The AU is not independent. The AU rely on Western support for financing for any program to be organized in Africa or outside Africa. They need the support of the West. Until the AU itself become independent, I don't believe Africa can move forward. This is my own position, and it's the position of the New African Charter International. So we have already made some programs which we are trying to implement as of now. For example, we just inaugurated or launched the Pan-African Reconstruction and Development Fund, PACDEF, which is for the post-new colonial transformation of Africa. Then we have also another program we call Live Our Leaders campaign. That is to see that African leaders are being allowed to do the right thing, not to be intimidated, to be humiliated, or assassinated. We suffer a lot from international conspiracy against the development of this continent. They've killed all our leaders. Just recently eliminated Saif al-Islam in Libya. Who next? We are next. We don't know. So we are now, we want the African Union to address this issue of security, the issue of reconciliation, the issues of peace, stability, and development in Africa, not to be sitting down trying to propagate foreign ideologies or foreign interests against the will and aspirations of the African continent. This is the problem we are facing in Africa.
Okay, Alimamy Bakarr Sankoh, unfortunately, I have to leave it there, but thank you indeed for your input on this matter. We will be keeping our eyes open on developments as far as the AU is concerned. You go well, keep us in your duas, and Ramadan Mubarak to you. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you for everything. Assalamu alaikum.
Ameen, ameen. 8:53 on the dot. We are going to now hook up with Maulana Tariq Mohammed, President of the People's Freedom Party. And we're also going to be talking with someone from the FMYO Volkswagen, that is Mohammed Musa Laher, regarding the opposition to the draft revised white paper on the burial regulation amendments. Please stay with us.